I'm Bambi Francisco with Vader News, and I'm speaking with Charles Moldow. He's a general partner at Foundation Capital. Charles, thank you for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Well, in the past 5 years since you've been here, you've invested in about 10 companies, and you've had 4 exits in the last couple of years. PowerSet to Microsoft, let's see, AdWorld to AdMob, most recently Zoopit to Yahoo.
Yep.
So congratulations on those investments. Let's talk about Zoopit and PowerSet. Those are the two companies I know pretty well.
Sure.
They seem to be pretty early on, particularly sort of pre-commercialization, specifically PowerSet. So what does Foundation invest in? And do they invest in core IP, R&D like companies?
I think there's no specific rules. I would say, generally speaking, we invest in great people first, big markets, and in both cases, you had both of those with Steve Newcomb and Barney Pell at PowerSet and Bijan and JK, Jonathan Katzman at Zoopit. So we start there, and those guys were all tremendous entrepreneurs, obviously having built real companies that got sold. But I think in the case of PowerSet, it was very difficult, very deep technology. So we did invest in IP in that case. And commercialization of that IP was going to take some hundreds of millions of dollars ultimately to get it to market. And so there's always a moment in time when you think it's possibly the right time to sell. And we felt like Microsoft, particularly with their now Bing strategy, although when we sold it, it was not yet named or defined, but it felt like PowerSet inside of Microsoft could be a real advantage. A big win for the PowerSet employees, for the investors, and obviously for Microsoft. And so it lined up so well that we felt like it was the right thing to do.
Well, given the economy right now, are you more averse to risk in those type of ventures?
I think it's a reasonable thing to suggest, and it comes down to money raising. When you have a capital-intensive company that's going to need tens of millions of dollars in a market that's reasonably hard to raise money, I think you have to think hard about where the capital source is going to come from. In this case, Microsoft investing its money into PowerSet as a part of Microsoft just made more sense than us trying to raise round after round after round, trying to go after the Holy Grail in a big search.
What is the sweet spot for you and for Foundation?
Well, we do everything from very small seeds all the way to late stage, so I'm not sure there's a sweet spot, but at every stage there's a different strategy. I think in my case, if you look historically, I've done more early stage seed, although I've also done a few growth transactions as well.
Okay. What are they? When you say early stage seed, 200,000 to $1 million, and then do they run the gamut? Internet, clean tech?
They do. Let's see. On the seed front, I would point to Zoopit and Pixaza as two great examples of less than $1 million, no clearly defined idea, and great founders. And in both cases, that was the proposition.
Why did you invest in Pixaza? Don't tell me people.
Oh, it was 100% team. Jim Everingham and team I had worked with at TellMe, and I had seen them work at LiveOps where I was a board member. And when Jim came in, I said, I will support you and write whatever check you need of me, and you tell me the idea when you have it, and we'll go from there. And they had no idea when we invested. It was 100% a people investment.
Are you happy with the idea now?
Yeah, I mean, and they churned through a number of ideas, some better, some not as good, but in the end, they've come up with a really fascinating concept.
And what about Project Fairbid, which I understand is very similar to Swooppo? Why do you like that model, that business?
So Project Fairbid is another seed investment, early stage, has not yet launched, with a great business model in that case. Swooppo, all credit to them, came up with this model about 5 years ago in Europe. And it's a marketplace that's just tremendously large. Gaming, in combination with shopping, we feel, is a big e-commerce category that could emerge. There will be more than one winner in that space. There's no need just for one winner. And we feel like the demonstrated traction that Swooppo showed in Europe and then bringing it into the U.S. was material. We feel like there needed to be a second player in the market, a second credible player. And so we, Mayfield, in first round, decided to invest in our field.
And then Sunrun, which is interesting because that's a clean tech company, yet it's a financial services company, really, or a consumer company.
Yes. I mean, it can be whatever, I guess we describe it to be, but I would describe it as a consumer financial services play in the clean tech market. So the product is a financial services product helping consumers finance residential solar. That's a financial services product. But the product that gets shipped and put on houses is a clean tech product. Right? It's a feel-good product. It helps.
How is that different from Clean Power Finance? I know them only because they were on Vader, so they look somewhat similar.
I'm not familiar with Clean Power Finance. I know they're not in the residential space. There are a number of players that do what Sunrun does in the commercial space. My guess is they're one of those players, like SunEdison, And one of the pioneering thoughts that the Sunrun founding team had was to bring some of that capability into the residential market.
And given your investment in Sunrun, do you feel that the key barrier to getting sort of adoption of clean technology, is it just being able to afford it, consumers being able to afford it?
Yes, but there are so many more pieces to it. The regulatory piece and the state reimbursement, federal ITC reimbursement is all very complex. But I think the big fundamental problem is I walk into your house and I offer you solar, and you have to write a check for $30,000 to $80,000.
Yes.
And in today's marketplace, there aren't a lot of people who have either the cash lying around or the ability to line up that kind of debt. And so to break that barrier is a big win for Sunrun and for all the installers who install solar
Charles.
systems.
And we're going to wrap it up there, but you're going to stick around because we're going to talk about what's happening in the venture industry and also your outlook on exits.
Sounds great.
I've been speaking with Charles Moldow. He's a general partner at Foundation Capital. I'm Bambi Francisco.